Oh, righty. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Jerry Diamond with How to Get Out of Babylon. I'm continuing to read. Okay, all right, put the headset on. We interrupt this program by A.T. Hagan. And I adjusted his chapter section last night. I didn't finish this last one for a very good reason, because I didn't want to. Because it would have left everybody hanging. And I didn't want to do that to anybody out there in West Virginia or anywhere else. Arkansas, California, Texas, Tennessee. All right. I did unto others as I would have them do unto me, and not leave me hanging at the end of a chapter. So I just forewent that situation. Okay. So this was a chapter about impending part 2, and they've been talking about the government. We'll just start up with that. The Miguel looks sorry. We should let them fight it out amongst themselves. How they're handling the border and the Middle East. Does it matter to us who is in charge there? They have to sell their oil regardless, and there's too many other competing nations for them to raise their prices too much. It would seem the president does not agree. I find it hard to believe that he's not taking the Mexican border situation more seriously. John ate his last bite of rice. He threatened to send troops across the border, but since has done seemingly nothing. Can't say I blame the border state governors for forcing the issue about their guard troops. He was about to say something else when the CB base station behind the cash register counter suddenly split the air. Base to John Horn, base to John Horn. Oh God, John, come in, come in. Ann's voice sounded nearly hysterical. John's chair fell over as he leaped from the table and leaned over the counter to snatch the microphone from the counter. John to base, I'm here, what's wrong? Over. He spoke as evenly as he could, alarmed by the hysteria in his wife's voice. Oh, thank God she came back. John, you have to come back right now. Brittany just came home alone. She says that Melinda has been kidnapped. All right. Realization, part 1. A cold hand gripped John's heart as the import of his wife's words over the radio came to him. He took a deep breath to steady his voice, then spoke into the microphone again. Anne, calm down. What exactly has happened with Melinda and Brittany? Take it from the beginning and give me the details. Over. For a moment there was dead air, then his wife came back. I'm okay. This is what happened. Melinda and Brittany had gone over to play with Judy Starling, Rick's niece, this morning. I told them to be back by lunch since that front is moving in. A few minutes ago, Brittany came running back to the house by herself in a hysterical state. She said 3 men had stopped them at the intersection of the county road and the lane leading up to Rick's. She said at first they asked for directions on how to get to the church until they got within 10 feet or so, when they jumped and grabbed the girls. They took the shotgun and Melinda's pistol, then asked if she was Melinda Horn. When she said she was the older of the 3, the older of the 3 men then looked at Brittany and asked, are you that orphan girl John Horn took in? Britt said she was, and said the man smiled at that. He told her to run home and tell you that he had your daughter and that you'd be hearing from him directly. John, what are we going to do? The man paused to consider for a moment, then spoke into the microphone again. Anne, put Brittany on the radio. I want to talk to her. While I'm doing that, you call the sheriff's office right now and apprise them of what has happened. Then start calling Ed, Rick, Jimmy, and Mike. Tell them I'll meet them at the house in a few minutes. Do you copy that? Over. With the plan of action coming together, Anne's voice became steadier. I copy. Here's Brittany. We're phoning now. Over. Another voice came from the speaker. I'm here, Uncle John. I'm so sorry. They took us by surprise. I'm so sorry. John spoke firmly into the mic. Britt, steady yourself and calm down. I need you to tell me exactly what you saw and what you heard. What did these men look like? When you left them, did they get into a vehicle of some kind? Did you see them going down the road in a particular direction? Over. Over the air, he could hear the frightened girl take a deep breath. Then she spoke. They were three white men, Uncle John. The one who spoke to me was older than the other two, about your age, I think. He was wearing an army cap, but you could tell his hair was cut really short, kind of like the way that you see Marines wear it. Brown, but with some gray on the sides. He had a lot of tattoos on his arms that I didn't recognize, except for one that looked like one of those German symbols. I can't remember what they're called, but you see them on the flags on Hogan's Heroes. He wasn't wearing a coat, but just a short-sleeved blue work shirt like he wears sometimes. He had on blue jeans, pretty faded. He wore brown boots. I couldn't take my eyes off him when he spoke, so I remember him. I didn't look at the others too well, but they were both younger. One maybe about Jake's age. The other one was older, but not a lot older. One had a camouflage army jacket on. The other one had a brown coat of some sort. I don't think I remember anything else about them. Oh, the youngest one was wearing a black cowboy hat. He nodded his head, trying to commit the details of her description to memory. That's very good, Brittany, very good. Just stay calm and work with me here. Now, did you see what direction they went in? Did they get into a vehicle of some sort? Over. The girl replied, No, Uncle John, I didn't see a car or truck or anything. They just turned and walked into the woods away from the direction of your house. I couldn't see them very good after they went more than a few feet. You know how thick the pine trees are there at that corner. I ran straight home as soon as they were out of sight. He closed his eyes and tried to visualize a map of the area in his mind. You say they walked into the planted pines there at the corner. Were they heading in the direction of Rick's place, or were they going away from both roads? They weren't heading towards Rick's, and they didn't seem to be walking alongside the big road. They looked like they were heading straight out through the woods to me. Do you think maybe they've got a camp or something in there? A faint hope began to blossom in him, and rage began to burn within his heart. Brittany, I want you to listen carefully to me and do exactly as I tell you. As soon as you put down the microphone, go out on the porch and call the dogs into the dooryard and shut the gate so they'll stay in. Tell Ann to get a lead out and put Jake on it. Tell her to get the jeans that Mel was wearing yesterday and put them in a plastic bag, but not to handle them with her bare hands. Then I want you, Ann, and Lisa to lock the doors and windows in the house, and all of you are to be armed. Do you have all of that? Over. Yes, sir, she replied. Call in the dogs and keep them in the yard. Put Jake on a leash. Put the jeans that Mel wore yesterday in a plastic bag, but not to touch them with our hands. Lock up the doors and windows and get out the guns. Is that it? Yes, Britt, he said. Now tell Ann I'm leaving right now for the house. Over. I copy, Uncle John. I'll tell her. He hung up the mic and turned around to see Miguel and Carolita looking at him with grave concern. Miguel immediately said, John, what do you want us to do? John replied, Miguel, I'm leaving for the house right now. Try to contact Ed Harris by phone. Tell him I think they're making for US 27. It's the nearest road in the direction Brittany said they were headed. They'll either be on foot or on horseback. Either way, they're a good 3 or 4 miles from the road, and it's thick as hell through there. And the weather's crapping out, so they're not going to make good time. If he can get men strung out down 27, they'll have a good chance of spotting them if they try to cross the road. County Central will likely send men out as well. Once you're off the phone with Ed, get your truck and whatever men you can find that you trust and come to the house. Between Ed's crew on 27 and ours coming behind them, I think we'll be able to drive them like we did the dogs. That front is on top of us, so tell everyone to get out their foul weather gear. I'll see you at the house. Vaya con Dios, my brother, the store owner said. I'll meet you at your house as soon as I'm off the phone with Ed. The screen door slammed before he had finished speaking.